Hello dear friends. In this video we will talk about important astrological constellations for the month of July. We will mention the beginning of extremely important transit of Mars through the sign of Aries, and also we mention other important transits and say what are the general messages of this month for all of us. And finally we will say what July will bring to each zodiac sign. I'll put the timestamp below this video on YouTube, so that's how you will easily find the beginning of that part of the video where I will speak about each zodiac sign. I know that many people are expecting this, as I did not talk about signs separately in my last videos. So let's say some few words about lunar activity. It is going to be full moon on July 5th, and it is going to be at the same time lunar eclipse in Capricorn. The new moon will happen on July 20. It will be in Cancer, and it is the second in the row in Cancer. There was one in June, and now is in July, which is very, very significant thing, and it can possibly bring many good things for people born in this sign. And let me mention important transits. For example, the Sun is in Cancer until the 21st, then it is in Leo. Then from July 25th until the August the 2nd, it is going to happen the sextile of Jupiter and Neptune. This is the second one this year. The third one will be in October. And this is important aspect that is showing to us that there is a hope, God loves us and is helping us. And then let's say that Mars will be in Aries from the 29th of June until the 6th of January 2021. So Mars will stay in Aries for 6 months. It is very, very strong position for this planet. And then Venus will be in July in Gemini, almost for the whole month. But it comes out of its shadow after the retrograde period, only on July 29th. Then Mercury will be direct from July 12th and also emerges from its shadow only on July 27th. And when planets are in the shadow of their retrograde period, then they still do not function as we would want. We are still careful about the energy that they represent, but energy is of course much better than when they are retrograde. Then they do not stop us in our activities and plans. And Saturn from July 1st will again be in Capricorn, though now will be there retrograde Saturn in its sign. So let's talk about lunar activity first. As we said in the video for June of the year 2020, we are now in the eclipse season. So the first eclipse was happening on June 5th, and the second one was June 21st, and the last one is now in Capricorn on July 5th, and it is happening on the 13th degree of Capricorn. After July the 5th, the energy will start to calm down a little bit, but I can't make you happy by saying that everything will be perfect immediately. Not at all. This is the calm before the storm that will come in the autumn. Unfortunately, it is so. Still, we can hope that July will be as peaceful as it is possible after all of the very turbulent events that were happening in the last months. But of course depend on the part of the world. So the last eclipse is on the Cancer-Capricorn axis that were happening this summer in June and July. We know what they mean. They have very important meaning for all of us. And their meaning will be exhausted gradually by the end of the year. This meaning and the energy will not disappear suddenly. And we all know what this means actually. We said that this indicates, among other transits, the change of the highest ruling structures in the world. And we also said that those transits, as some other in Capricorn, signify the creation of the new governing structures. But everyone who follows the events knows that all the rulers do not give up. they are still there and they are fighting strongly. So now it is also worth mentioning again that the whole world is in some sort of a war. Just this war is different from those previous wars that we know how they were happening. This is also now happening, unfortunately. There are many unfortunate informations that I have, but what can I do? I'm just saying what astrology offers. So the second new moon takes place in Cancer, and that's quite symbolic. July is important for Cancer people and also for Capricorn people. People with planets in Capricorn, especially with the planets from 8 to 18 degree, have the opportunity to complete some of their work, or maybe to get rid of the past in some way. And people who have planets in the sign of Cancer have two chances this year. If they don't make it once, they can repeat it. And especially this will work in the next 6 months. So the sign of Cancer is the sign of genetic, the sign of mother, family, and possibly the sign of tribe. So it is interesting to say that the war that is being fought in the world is actually a war of two tribes, which have been at war for more than 2 millenniums. And I can't say much details about this, but many people know about this. And so this is some sort of culmination of very, very long period of struggling between two, actually powers, we can even say, that were representing with some sides. So in that context, it's also interesting to mention that this is also the continuation of the Second World War. It is further even interesting that members of the same families with their comrades financed all the wars in the past 150 years or more. For example, they were financing the Russian Revolution in the year 1917. They were financing the Second World War. They were financing also all of the wars that they were fought in the last 30 years. And they also are financing this war that we are experiencing right now. So this what is happening now is nothing else than war against humanity, but one can still talk about eugenics, unfortunately, because those big warriors that are doing all of those things are more focused on certain people and certain races. So the choice is not accidental, and everything is completely opposite from that what they portray in their fake medias. It is completely opposite, actually. However, the Sun is in Cancer, and later on in July will be in Leo. So then Sun is very strong. In the summer is very strong Sun. So when the Sun is strong, the conscious is also stronger. The laws of the universe work to change the consciousness of every human being on this planet, and they do it individually. So if we allow ourselves to talk about the age of Aquarius and the new consciousness of humanity, then it is important to know that this new consciousness is born in a man, I can say in a concrete individual. Each of us will have the opportunity to discover for himself, herself, in which reality one lives, and to gain knowledge that will lead one to liberation from everything, even from any manipulation. Such a free man will develop significantly differently from the man of previous centuries. This is what we are facing. And of course, someone is trying to stop this development of humanity. So that someone talks about transhumanism and reaches for modern technology, because that someone is underdeveloped and backward. Because that someone cannot allow the creation of a human world without selfish chivalry and exploitation of others. So the world is at a great turning point in this year 2020. And why July and perhaps August can be important because the conscious can grow stronger in these months, you know. And it is very important for everyone to know what is happening. One should not run away from the truth because of fear or because of his or her own conformism. And it is also important at the same time to believe in victory of all of us without fear. You know, fear is no good for us. At the end of July, one of the three sextiles between Jupiter and Neptune appears. This one will last from July 25th to the August the 2nd. The first was in February and the third will be in October. This aspect is very significant. In addition to great conjunctions in Capricorn between Saturn, Pluto and Jupiter, this is another important aspect that gives hope and vision of a happier future. For this, one only needs to believe in the power of God or in the power of the laws of universe. That is enough, because if you believe in any of these things, then you know that everything has meaning. So everything that is happening in this world makes sense. Everything is connected. Not a single leaf falls on the ground without a reason. So if one understands this, then that person can live freely. This is the help, great help of everyone who knows that there is a higher consciousness and that if we believe in the existence of it, we feel that we are connected, and this is the way, you know. And what can help this process is to develop our own intuition. So astrology does not work also in a way that some decisions fall from above, and but they are created, actually our decisions are created in us. And the sky only miraculously reflects that what is in us. So everything happens at the same time, below and from down, up. So this is why there is now so much pressure on us, as we are constantly threatened with new prisons and with new isolation, like we will be closed again. And they're doing this because they want to create a ghetto in the heads of people. And when that is done, then man, of course, does not believe that he is free. And man loses faith in God, or man starts to believe that universe does not love him. You know, that's how the connection actually stops. So the sextile of Jupiter and Neptune frees a man from fears and even from the fear of death. And this is the aspect that can bring hope to many and can teach many, even though under the pressure. And what is the most important lesson is that life is eternal and there is nothing to be afraid of. This is the most important message of this sextile. So one of the best days in July for realizing this is actually the 12th of July, when Sun makes the trine to planet Neptune. But also the time of sextile is perfect. Furthermore, with this aspect, it is important to know that the best signs come to our intuition. Nowadays, it is not very useful only to think logically. Logic is fine, but also it is good to follow spiritual signs. We need to follow them and to understand them, especially in the time of the sextile. On July 15 and on July 20, while the Sun is in the sign of Cancer, there is opposition to the Sun from Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. So this will be opportunity for all of us to, as individuals and as a collective, to meet with our shadow and to realize that no one can scare us if we do not allow them to do that, you know. So this will be the time to meet our shadow side and to say what I'm afraid actually about. What am I afraid of, I wanted to say. On July 29th, Mars enters the sign of Aries, as we said, and Mars will remain in Aries sign until the January the 6th in the year 2021. This is very, very long transit of a warrior, and warrior planet will be in its sign because Mars rules Aries. So it's very, very strong and has very strong power there. So it is going to be very intense in this Mars, but the most intense will be the period when Mars will be retrograde, from September the 10th to November 14th. What retrograde Mars means, I talked about in some of my videos, and I published an article in one of my blog, but not in English, unfortunately. I have it in other languages. So Mars is okay still in July and August. It gives us more dynamic than anything else. It is still not making square to Pluto or any planet in Capricorn. Of course, Mars is preparing for some fights, we know that, but still will not attack, most probably, not in a especially dangerous way during the summer. If there are some attacks of any kind, then those attacks cannot move or cannot lead into any big events. It is because Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto are retrograde still. So Mars, it is as it is. It gives more dynamic and maybe strong will to solve something. So it's quite good now, for now. And for many, this month from July 7th until the end of the month is potentially the best also for the rest, for consolidation of the strength, and maybe for many also to some active rest. So we have learned a lot since the beginning of the year until now. Now we are moving forward and we need to conquest our human freedom now in the second part of this year. So Mars can even prepare us for this. Saturn has been in the sign of Capricorn since July the 1st. He was briefly in Aquarius, and now by September 29 is retrograde in Aquarius, so it's very strong. It helps those who know how to use its energy and hits back those who don't know how to use this energy. By the way, I made a video about Saturn in Aquarius. It's on YouTube. You can check it if you want. So now in July, Saturn will help many people to complete the work that they started maybe in the past. Maybe will help some politicians to find new strength, to be responsible. Also, it is very helpful for individuals who are responsible and who do not ask the life to cuddle them, you know, those who do not want everything in a tender way. They're good with Saturn. So it can be also even stabilization of some old business for many. June is quite interesting also for purchasing and for investments. Mercury is direct in July, from the 12th of July. Venus is in Gemini. Even we said planets are not still in their full strength, not Mercury, not Venus, but they still can give the opportunity to trade, to buy things on lower prices maybe still. So with due caution, this can be a good month for investments of any kind. I also remind you that this year, the mood is oscillating from 0 to 100. So one day, a person feels that everything is over. It is horror. And the next day, there is a hope that new life will come, that will come soon, and that will be fantastic, you know. So we are still going from one extreme to another. It was not just in April, as I was talking about. And this does not mean that we are crazy. This is normal state of mind for now, almost the whole year. And let's now say something about each zodiac sign. Let's say shortly something about them. So Aries, as Mars is very strong, then it can bring enormous energy and very, very dynamic period until it's not retrograde. So it's time for Aries people now. Of course, everything depends on the circumstances they live in. There are Aries people now in places of the world where many bad things are happening, so maybe they do not know really how to use this energy. But it's interesting that many Aries people with this energy will find themselves in the role of missionaries or saviors, which is perfectly fine. They're excellent in this role, especially if they do that in a way as other understands it also. Some Aries have been stopped in their business, or their ambitions were stopped because of the retrograde planets in the 10th house, but Mars will now bring them dynamic again. Taurus people, well, they will have Venus in the 2nd house. They will have more luck than others because they will understand quite well this month the game of attraction, which they can use in different ways, or maybe they will understand the law of attraction quite well. Taurus can protect themselves financially, of course. They are good in that. Even they can do it in time of crisis. And July can even bring them some opportunities for love if they allow themselves to be in love. Gemini people can experience something like that. So Venus is in Gemini, and for Gemini people will maybe all month feel quite pleasant. This transit of Venus allows Gemini to feel their senses in another way. They can be more charming than they are. Generally from June and July, Gemini people are feeling better and better, much better than in previous months. This is quite good transit for vocation if they can do that in these circumstances. They can maybe make new contacts, maybe even attract some money. And many Geminis are more active in July than before because they're more motivated now. Cancer people, as the sun is in Cancer, it will be a very good month, of course. And we said that now is going to happen the second new moon. So if Cancer people made a mistake, they can change it somehow. They can have the repetition of something. It can be even, this can be the sign of double happiness. So many Cancer people have been resolving partnerships for a long time, and something significant can happen in this era of life, also in July as well. Weddings are possible with this transit. It is possible that they will make new plans for the next year, maybe to buy and sell properties, or to maybe may have some changes in family. Some Cancer people can change under the pressure of others. You know, they can be very conservative, and sometimes they need to be pushed a little bit. Then Leos. Many Leos celebrate their birthdays in July, so happy birthday to all of the Cancer and Leo people. I wish you good luck to be the luckiest as possible. But Leo people will also have on July 15 and on July the 20th some oppositions. They will feel those oppositions as their ruler, the Sun, will have the oppositions to Saturn and Pluto. And those 2 days, they can maybe be afraid, maybe some unexpected events can happen to them. And it's very important for Leo in July to understand what they're afraid of. And if they did not understand what is happening in the world by now, it is time for them to understand that. The sooner they do it, the better it is. Then Virgo. Just as the planets in Capricorn make trines through the whole year to Virgo planets, the same thing is happening now in July from the planets that are in Crab or Cancer. So Cancer planets in July make sextile to Virgo. So Virgos are quite lucky in July, you know. I hope that they will not be under the influence of some unfortunate events that are happening in the society where they live, because Virgo signs are quite protected. Maybe they should understand that heaven protects them, and it is not necessary to implement all of the measures of protection against various diseases. You know, Virgo people like to do this, but they're protected. They can live freely, no need to be in stress. And many Virgos will have the opportunity to show to others their skills and maybe their knowledge in July and later on. And Libra. The last eclipse that is happening on the 5th of July is happening in the 4th house for Libras. And this eclipse will make square to planets in Libra. This especially influences the second decade of Libras. So things may not be going the way Libras wanted them in the sphere of family, real estate, about maybe their home, if they wanted to buy, to sell, or to do whatever they are. Possibly things were changing in the way that they did not wish in their country of origin, or things like that. But just do not worry, everything makes sense. Just be patient, Libra, and by the end of this year, everything will look completely different. And hopefully, it will be much, much better than it was in the past. Scorpio. As Mars is in the strong position, and it is the old ruler of Scorpio, this Mars will allow Scorpio people to work hard and to achieve a lot, especially in the work area. This Mars can help them to overcome numerous tasks and obligations, and they can do whatever they do with great determination. It is also good time for sports or similar activities. However, it is important to take care of health with Mars in the 6th house and not to be too much exhausted. Sagittarius. They will feel more than others this sextile between Jupiter with Neptune. So in the second half of July, the very promising time is coming for Sagittarius people. They can be useful to themselves and to others. They can maybe awaken people, give to others hope, because they are those optimists, that other people need. So maybe Sagittarius people will bring faith into people and tell them that everything is fine and everything will be okay, and that we should only believe that we have strength to do things as we want, and so on. Many Sagittarius can even travel, if it's possible in the country where you live to travel, you will certainly be the one who will travel. Even far journeys are possible. Then Capricorn. Capricorn, with this last eclipse in their sign at the 13th degree, will finally feel that something big from the past is gone. And this will especially feel people who are second decade of Capricorn. Saturn also returns into their sign, and Jupiter and Pluto are there, as we know. And those planets will have opposition to Sun, that will be in Cancer this month. So there can be some challenges in partnership life, but also can be very, very useful impulses that will come from another people or from their life partner or from their co-workers, and those people maybe can inspire Capricorns to do things in a different way, to think of life maybe lightly, to not to be too much worried about everything, especially about their job and things like that. Aquarius. Well, as Saturn leaves their sign, for now, they can have a rest a little bit. So Saturn was for the short time in the sign of Aquarius, but he certainly showed during these previous 3-4 months how it looks like when one has Saturn in his own sign. So Aquarius people started to be more responsible, and maybe they understood better than before that they have some problems that they should solve, and they could feel how that looks like when they're solving problems. So if Aquarius felt something like that, that's quite good. If not, maybe still was not the time. So the end of July is potentially fruitful for partnerships of all kinds, for associations with others, and especially it is good to associate with others if you're Aquarius and have the same goal with others, maybe to raise the awareness of others, to help others in some way, and so on. And Pisces. For Pisces people, it can be very significant, the sextile between Jupiter and Neptune. And it's interesting, in these very, very hard times, many Pisces people will have a chance of their life. They can gain something in material form. They can be successful in whatever they need, They can be inspired to do arts or whatever, you know. It can be very useful for those who are in healing sphere, or if they're in politics. Especially Pisces of the second and the third decade of this sign will feel this. I know that it sounds strange in our time, but it's really so. Pisces can be successful in whichever area of life, actually. You know, it is only important that they have determination and that they believe that they can make it. It's also good if they're involved in IT or doing something with numbers and so on. And that's all for now. During the summer, I will prepare some content, new content that I will put on my site, Symbolic Thinking, so you will find it on my website. I will also make the conjunction about Saturn and Jupiter as some other videos, as I promised. I still did not have time for that. And of course, if you want, you can arrange consultations with me. What do I offer? You will find on my web pages. The name of these pages is symbolicthinking.net. You will see that I'm mainly involved in astrological psychology and spiritual astrology, but I offer also consultancy based on Thetahealing and Feng Shui. So we can also talk about that, how to arrange your living space. All of the links and contacts, all of the recommended videos will be below this video on YouTube. So if you like this video, forward it, subscribe to my channel, and thank you very much for that in advance. Until next time, I wish you to be healthy and oriented towards better future. For you, of course, and for all of us.